All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checkered TV. Tonight we've got the Area 51 Racing League Indy Series here tonight at Las Vegas. Last week we were over at Watkins Glen with Craig Forsyth, able to hold off and get the win there. Tire temperatures were the big issue there, but he was able to keep that car clean. And you can see that it was a big point swing, jumping now into the points lead by 10 over Eric Schaus. David Payton holding solid in third position, 62 out. Matt Wagner in fourth, James Ledford in fifth, and 6th through 10th we've got Jim Brooks, Michael Spell, Benjamin Combs, Jack Wells, and Bud Steele. Drivers are just about completing their qualifying laps, and we'll start the grid here. So it should be an exciting one. Scheduled distance is 100 laps, and it will be a 100-lap race. To kind of replicate the Indy Series, they have gone away with the green-white checkered finishes here this evening. So lap 100 will be the finish of the race, be it under caution or under green flag. So we'll see if that comes into play this evening or not. Alright, so qualifying just has completed, so let's go ahead and go through our starting grid for tonight's event. On the pole is going to be that number 99 of Matt Wagner. Next to him going to be the 54 of AJ Musselman. In third, you've got Corey Lane. Fourth, Benjamin Combs. Rounding out the top 5 will be the 76 of Jim Brooks. And you've got David Leclerc, Gary Corley, Craig Forsyth. And 9th through 16th, you've got David Payton, Bud Steele, Michael Spell, Jimmy Drynan, Eric Schaus, Charles Teed, Joe Fierro, and John Brill. And then 17th through 21st, Taylor Lane, Paul Patterson, James Ledford, Kyle Hess, and Dwight Plesh. And as always, joining me in the booth this evening is my partner in crime, Steve Gottschalk. Steve, really glad to have you with me again here tonight. I know you're running some laps to get a kind of a feel for what these cars are going to be doing. So let me see if you can give us some of your insight, what maybe we should be expecting to watch this evening.
Glad to be back, Gael. I ran some laps with both the race setup and the qual setup, and I would like to say that I qualified third, so I'm very proud of that. As far as the race setup goes, if you're by yourself or you're with one other car, you can pretty much go flat out all the way around. If you're in a pack, you're gonna have, and you're not the lead car, you're gonna have to back off a little bit because the aero push is terrible. Couple things that I noticed that are, to me, a little bit peculiar here. It's the track for some reason feels narrow in these cars. And on the back stretch, if you're not careful when you're running alongside another car, it's very easy to scrape the wall. It's also hard to pass somebody on the outside in the turns, but I did notice that you can pull a crossover. So you can get a good run on somebody from the outside and then try and get under them coming off the turn. Be interesting to see if that works for these guys tonight.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to see how they're going to race this. Another thing you had mentioned to me during practice was that this track is a little bit on the bumpy side, especially on the inside line through turns 1 and 2. As we know in the Cup cars, you actually kind of run the middle groove to avoid those bumps on the inside line. So I'll have to see if that comes into play as well with the line strategy. And then, of course, fuel window sounds like it's going to be really close to the edge of it being a 2-stop race, with it sounds like the fuel window being around 34 laps. So that's going to be another one that's going to come into play tonight. But say first, though, we got to get there saying based on practice, this is going to be a wild one. Let's say these cars are going to be going 230, 240 down the straightaways. And like you mentioned with that aero push, it's going to be difficult for these cars to try to keep it nose to tail. So let's say that's going to be definitely where trouble can kind of come and bite these drivers. So I'll have to see how it's going to play out. I think, again, track position going to be king. So Matt Wagner, AJ Musselman, they're probably pretty happy here with their starting position. So we'll see how the race progresses as we're about to get that green flag to fly, and we'll get things underway. And here they go. We are underway here at Las Vegas. Again, 100 laps will be the distance tonight as Matt Wagner leads field here entering turn number 1.
Yeah, one other thing I noticed, in the Cup cars here, you can get in the front straight, you can get right down onto the apron and pass people that way. You cannot get on the apron in these cars tonight.
Yeah, apron bad for the new cars. So any banking transition with these cars is pretty much instant death. So I don't think we're going to see that happen here. As you see, Matt Wagner looks like he's just going to hold off AJ, get that first lap led in that number 99 machine. But you can see these cars behind him are all starting to jockey for a position here on the track there. As you see, you see the 50 made a little push there off turn number 2, and that's exactly what I think we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, you really have to play with the gas pedal, and you have to let off at the right time to not have it push off the turn and not lose the momentum that you have to keep up with the pack.
Yeah, I'd say right now this top 4 still holding pretty steady position-wise. I'll say we mentioned again our championship battle right now. Craig Forsyth, he's showing in the 6th position. Eric Schaus in the 10th spot. So again, for them, that's going to be their goal, is to try to keep these cars clean, because again, it's going to be extremely easy to get caught up in some of these situations. I see Craig here right behind the 10 of Corey Lane in the air, just a little bit out of the window there. As I heard a car catch the wall. We have a caution out, trying to catch who and where it is. Looks like
it's on the front
24 of Joe Fierro with the contact to the wall. Looks like the 05 of Charles Teed, I think, may have been involved in that one as well. So let's go take a look and see what happened to bring out the caution. Both cars suffering really heavy damage there. All right, so actually those two cars are running side by side through 3 and 4. So that was the first thing we were talking about, Steve, is that push when you're side next to another car, whether or not that's going to come into play. And unfortunately, it looks like that's exactly what's about to happen here coming out of turn number 4. You see Charles Tito's to the outside of Joe Fierro, and unfortunately, Joe just wound up washing up into that 0-5 of Charles Teed. Both of these drivers are making heavy contact with the outside wall, and unfortunately, it looks like John Brill also, he catches the outside wall, trying to get that thing slowed down in time. And looks like actually then also going to make some more contact with that 24 as well. So looks like a 3-car incident for the most part to start things off here. So that was around lap number 5 that this caution came out.
And that did look exactly like the push situation that I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be I mean it's gonna be difficult tonight. I mean I said track temp. I mean it's not terrible. I'm sure the drivers would love it being a little cooler. Right now 72 ambient, 97 track temperatures, so it's under 100 on the track, which isn't too bad. However, I say again, that's going to still be definitely a challenge for these drivers here. Looking on the pit side of things, looks like not too many chose to pit there under that caution. John Brill, James Ledford, and Dwight Plesh, 3 to take the opportunity to do that. Maybe try to get to the back and play it easy here until it's really time to get after it. Say Joe Fierro and Charles Teed both sitting in the pits. I believe both drivers having to take a tow. Also, of course, going to be putting that fast repair in use for both drivers here, unfortunately. And you look at that 0-5 car, it's hurting. I mean, both the right side tires are gone on that car. So there was no way he was going to limp that thing back to the pits.
So we're sitting here with Matt Wagner out front, and if people who have been following this series for a while will know that Matt has led a lot of laps. He is yet to win a race, but he's finished second a whole bunch of times. Could this be his night?
I say, don't you put that evil on him, Steve. I say, don't. He's been talking about that. Say he's had the commentators curse before, so I'm gonna say that Matt's gonna get a solid top 19 finish here tonight. But so yeah, top 20 for Matt Wagner. I think you can check that and put that in the bank. So that's going to be my prediction for Matt, is he will finish somewhere in the top 20. That's my bold prediction, Steve.
That's a very bold prediction, Guy. You really went out on a limb on that one.
I did. But no, you're exactly right. I mean, he's been a contender week in and week out. Just a lot of times, just cautions haven't fallen his way or things of that nature. Which, I mean, unfortunately, it's just that's the part of these races. Sometimes luck comes into it, and just he has not had the luck to go his way to finish off one of these races. So I'll have to keep an eye and see if maybe tonight is the night that he can break that streak. But again, I mean, we still got 95 laps to go here. However, lights are off on the pace car. We're going to get back going. Charles Teed is back on track, 2 laps down. Joe Fierro still sitting in the pits at the moment, so we'll see if he can get going here soon as well. As if you can see, everybody's jumping to the top side to get ready. Restart will be on the 99 car, so once that pace car drops in, Matt Wagner, he can drop whenever he wants to, so it's up to him to lead this restart here. All right, pace car makes the sharp left into the pits. So it looks like Matt's waiting a little bit there. Now he's down and away, and you can see that. And again, that's just the reaction. The other thing I'd be careful about is that accordion effect further back in the field. If you're those cars in the 15th or so position, you got to be really careful not to get into the back of one another on these restarts.
Yep, we've seen that cause wrecks here before.
Yeah, it's one of the it's a risk versus reward. I mean, single file versus double file each have their pros, each have their cons. And I say the accordion effect is definitely a con for their single file restarts. But up front though, AJ Musselman wasting no time. He's going to jump back to the rear wing of that number 99 car. Say. Jim Brooks, though, not too far behind in that 3rd spot. Corey Lane there still in 4th. And then we'll see Craig Forsyth here not too long in the future. David Leclerc, I should say, not too long here.
Matt is really protecting the bottom lane there. And AJ keeps getting a good run off the turns, but he's not going to be able to get underneath Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the clean air is king. So, I mean, what AJ can only do right now is he has to run this middle groove to the outside of that number 99, because if he follows in right in the tire tracks of Matt Wagner, he's just going to get a big push. And so right now what he's doing is he's keeping that car in the clean air. As you can see, Jim Brooks, looks like he's trying to put the big arc in that 76 car. But even on the exit, you can still see that car tries to wash up on the exit. So that's the issue right here is again, I mean, clean air is king. And the only question is Matt running the bottom line like his? Will this be abusing his tires a little bit? Or maybe that will allow AJ Musselman to get a run here later on as this race progresses.
I'm a little bit curious whether the three cars that are behind Matt can gang up with each other on the outside and try and draft past him, but they haven't. Nobody's really tried that yet.
Yeah, see, these cars don't really. I say even if you leave them out to dry, say that first car on the outside line, he's going to hit that same wall of air that the 99 has. So, really, when you're in those front positions, you're the one that's breaking the draft for pretty much everybody behind you. So right now, really, Jim and Corey are pretty much stuck, honestly, where they are. I feel like at this point, I think right now is just you're kind of trying to balance your aggression versus your tire wear, things of that nature. I say obviously right now the 76 and the 10, they're definitely in a tough position here, being not having a clean air option. Say because again you see Matt's on the bottom, AJ's up top. That's pretty much all you have option wise there. So you don't really want to get to that third lane because that's definitely not going to be the quickest way around.
What would happen in these cars if, say, Jim Brooks got right up behind AJ Musselman and tried to push him past on the outside? Like Jim keeps diving back down in the turns.
That's a good question. Oh, we got trouble on the front stretch. Like John Brill caught up in this one. Oh, heavy damage to that number 90 car. Looks like he's going to have to take a tow right off the bat. So let's go see. We'll bring out this second caution here. Also looks like actually the 44-48 may have been involved as well. That's going to be James Ledford and Dwight Plesh. So let's go see what happened to these guys to bring out this most recent caution.
This is going to be something we talked about a little while ago.
Uh-oh. That sounds like an apron bad to me, Steve. Oh, yep, there goes John Brill. Just touches the apron, and then unfortunately, like we talked about, just instant spin. Nothing they can do, and then unfortunately, these cars that are around him, just they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And say, trying to see. Oh, yeah, I see James Ledford in the background. He actually he spun out trying to avoid the wreck. Looks like, no, he hit pretty solid actually afterwards. And then Dwight Plesh, oh, same thing, heavy hit for that 44 as well. So yeah, both those cars definitely heavy damage to the two of them. There was one other car involved. I think it was the 19 of Kyle Hess. Looks like Kyle actually may have gotten away with left rear suspension damage on that car as well. So I was about to say, looks like he may have gotten away with it, but I spoke prematurely there. However, though, we have pit stops happening here, Steve. Well, some drivers having pit stops, I should say. Split decision looks like. Looks like the top 5 or so are going to stay out. However, it looks like I believe AJ Musselman going to be the first to hit the pits here, leading a good number of cars in here. So I like the strategy actually for AJ. I mean, he's going to pit here. He's going to go in second, come out in 5th. Same thing for Jim Brooks, I believe, from 3rd to 6th. So, I mean, not a huge loss here position-wise for those two drivers. And they're going to be about 15 laps fresher tires and a little bit more fuel. Again, the question is whether or not that's going to play a difference or not in the race itself. That's yet to be seen, obviously. But say when you're in those positions where you can kind of tell you're not going to be able to move your way forward, you usually got to try to go off strategy. So a couple of those doing that are the 6 of Bud Steele, who wasn't up front earlier. He started in 10th, now is showing in 3rd. And then the other is that 32 of Taylor Lane. Taylor started in 17th, now showing in the 4th position, using that pit strategy, staying out here. As again, everybody still's in the window here, Steve. They're still going to have to make it on 2 more stops. These cautions obviously helping the leaders that have yet to make that pit stop as well. So we'll see what kind of difference it makes. And then the other thing to mention too, that 05 Charles Teed, he gets one of his 2 laps back, so he is back just to 1 lap down in that 05 machine.
Okay, good. I had to go into silent mode for a second because for some reason my standings thing disappeared off the screen, so I had to go find it.
Oh, no worries. You're good to go here.
Now I can see that we have from, let's see, 5th on back are the ones that pitted.
Yep, AJ Musselman, the first of those, followed by Jim Brooks, and then from there, I'll say just the rest of the field, obviously. So right now, Craig Forsyth showing in 7th, and then his championship rival, the 72 Eric Schaus, is in 9th. So those two running right together per usual. I say again, I think their goal here tonight is just to make sure they stay out of trouble and try to get this one to the end. Because I think we've got 3 to go, including tonight. So Let's say we're definitely in the home stretch here, and it's only a 10-point difference. So every point, every bonus point, really going to matter for these drivers here.
So you had said that you thought it'd be about 34, 35 laps that they could go on fuel. So I'm thinking another 20 laps, and they should be able to make it on one stop. That could be what Matt's doing with his strategy out front there.
Yeah, so everybody's still in the same pit window. Everybody's going to still have to pit twice to make it to the end here. But yeah, you're exactly right. I say once we get to about that lap 33, 35 mark, that should be everybody in the window to make it to the end on one more stop. So I think that's what we're going to expect to see from some of these guys. I think once we get to that window, they'll have to pit. Again, the question is going to be here is whether or not these fresh tires make a difference, starting with that AJ Musselman in the 54 car or not. Also need to mention James Ledford, Dwight Plesh, they are back out on track 2 laps down. Joe Fierro on track 4 down. And unfortunately, it looks like the 90 of John Brill may have retired from the event, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that was, or if he had already used a fast repair prior to that last incident. So I believe he might. Yeah, he did actually. That's right, because he had contact with Joe Fierro when he was kind of pinned to the top. So, unfortunately, that 90 car was out of the fast repairs, and so his night's done early. Unfortunately, just say circumstances out of his control in the first one. And then, as we talked about, that apron, I say it's going to bite drivers if they risk touching it here. So that's what caught him on that second one.
And it's tough, even when you when you put the steering to a 6 pinion or whatever it is. Which gives you the slowest steering. To me, it was still a bit too twitchy, so it's a real challenge to keep it off the apron.
Yeah, I mean everything's happening so fast in these cars. You're right, Steve. So definitely not an easy thing to do with these cars here. As I say, pace cars just about hitting in there as it does. Matt Wagner again looks like he's waiting a little bit to go. So now he drops the hammer here. And again, so you can see a little bit of a stack up there on the front stretch. So say looks like they're going to get away with it, but definitely did look like there's a little bit of McCord a few cars back, but looks like so far so good up front. So now again, the car we want to watch is going to be that 54 and 76 of AJ Musselman, Jim Brooks, and actually right away here they're going to try to go after that 32 of Taylor Lane.
Yep, AJ already got him. Let's see if see how long it takes for Jim to make a move.
Actually, looks like so far Taylor looks like still holding on to that spot for the moment here. However, I'm going to jump back up front because Corey Lane now, he is right all over the back of the 99 of Matt Wagner. And Corey doing exactly what AJ was doing a little earlier, getting right to the outside of that number 99 machine here as they go through the turns. Like I said, using that draft can get to him, but then unfortunately just has to run that higher line to try to keep that clean air.
I got my yellows mixed up there with those two guys.
Yeah, so definitely a slight neon difference between the two of them. However, though, as we say that, though, Taylor Lane, that last lap was the fastest car on track with those drafts in front of him. So, again, even with those older tires, he's still putting down some good lap times. But the thought is the fresher tires should hopefully offset that aero push a little bit for them. So maybe that'll let these cars be a little bit more maneuverable. Or again, let's say the next step, of course, is depending on how the green flag stops fall. It might change the pit strategy of when you want to make your green flag pit stops if we get to that point in the race. So right now up front, things holding pretty steady here. We'll jump around a little bit as we go. So you can see AJ Musselman has now gotten by the 32 of Taylor Lane, so move AJ back up into 4th position. Saying behind him, you can see Jim Brooks is going to try to get there along with Craig Forsyth there in the 27 car. So let's be the next line, try to make their move forward. But right now the field's pretty spread out here in this main group. Everybody's got a couple of tenths on each other's. Now Jim's going to maybe try to take a peek underneath, entering turn number 1. Can get underneath him, but not quite enough to get the run there on exit. But now it looks like he's going to get that nose underneath here down the backstretch.
Yeah, and it looks like Taylor Lane's going to give him the spot down there. That was nice.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. You could see him push in the middle of 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 there. So you can see that's how Taylor's got the momentum back to the outside. I think the short distance will prevail here through 1 and 2. And yes, sure enough, that Jim's going to clear that 32 car. However, again, now Taylor's going to be all in the back wing, I should say, not back bumper, of that 76 here as he gets into turn 3. But you can see he's right in the path of that 76 car, so we're going to be really careful about that arrow push on the exit. Up front, though, we got a 4-car gaggle here. Still, Matt. Oh, actually, as I said, I think those contact possibly with AJ Musselman and Bud Steele. Bud's trying to hang on to it. He's got it still pointed to the inside here. I think he's going to hang on to it. Unfortunately for him, it's going to cost him all his track position and no caution there. Let's go back and see how that all unfolded here quickly.
It looked to me like AJ just got such a run on him and just accidentally like bumped into him in the middle of the turn.
Yeah, AJ caught him in the left front to right rear a little bit on the entry, and unfortunately, just nothing Bud can do there. That being said, though, amazing save by the 6. Almost had it saved completely. That banking difference, though, unfortunately, kind of is what did him in. As I say, Bud's actually hitting the pits here after that situation. So the question now, too, on that is going to be, does AJ have any front wing damage to that car? That'll definitely affect the handling of it. I say, from where I'm looking, it looks still clean. So he may have gotten away with it there.
I'm wondering if Bud has any damage that he has to repair. It's taken a while, so I'm thinking that he must.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Say that you're right. That is a very long pit stop, unless maybe, unfortunately, a sped or something on entry. So, I'll keep an eye to see when he hopefully gets back out on track. As right now, AJ Musselman's starting to really put some pressure on Corey Lane. He's going to peek to the inside. He's going to steal a little bit of draft from Matt Wagner as well, just for good measure. As you can see, though, AJ really has to fight that arrow push now on the inside line here.
Looks like he's got the spot now.
Yeah, looks like he's going to clear him. So, and say while they did that, that's bringing that 76 to Jim Brooks. He's closed the gap there. He's a couple tenths quicker than those guys in front of him while they were running side by side. However, though, Taylor Lane's still holding pretty solid there in that 5th position in the 32 car. Say Taylor still, as you can see, fighting, trying to hold off the 27 of Craig Forsyth. But here come Craig and his championship rival. Here comes that 72 of Eric Schaus. Say Eric's just going to get around the 50 now of David Leclerc. So move Eric up into that 7th position and David back to the 8th spot.
So we got the champion contenders running right together now.
Yeah, kind of part of the norm for those two. So say now we got a good battle here, Steve. Now here's gonna be we'll see what happens. So Matt Wagner on the older tires has less fuel, so it's a little lighter. However, AJ Musselman, he's got the fresher tires on that car, so he's back to where he was prior to the pit stops. So we'll see if anything can be done between the two of them here. Right now, though, it looks like that holding that white line seems to be what you got to do to keep that lead in. Right now, the tire difference does not seem to be making a big difference for AJ Musselman.
Which probably means that the arrow push is outweighing the advantage of the tires.
Yeah, and especially I think at this point in the run, too, because, I mean, right now, Matt Wagner, he's on lap 32 of this run. AJ's on lap 18, so I mean, I'm sure all the best part of the tires I'd say, usually you can get away with the arrow push in these cars with fresh tires for a couple of laps, but then at some point, the arrow push is going to be more powerful than the slightly newer tires. So I think that's what we're seeing here. And actually, as I said, though, we have a caution. Looks like the 24 Joe Fierro on the backstretch here. Looks like he may have just looped it. Let's go back and take a look, but it puts us back under yellow. Let's say Bud Steele is back on track. He is 3 laps down now, but is back running again. And let's see what happened to Joe here. Coming out of turn number 4, I think this incident took about a full lap to take effect. Oh yeah, actually got really loose off of turn 4, does some serious lawn mowing. Somehow keeps the car in control that whole time. But then unfortunately, I say with all the sliding and then now being on the flat apron, just can't quite keep control of that car, and he spins it on the exit. But yeah, so just a simple little spin out though, no damage to the car, so really no harm, no foul there. I think he's going to be okay to get back going.
That's a good thing, because I'm not sure he has any fast repairs left. I don't think he does.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't think he does either. I think he used his on the last caution. So yeah, so that's going to put us now into pit stop time for these leaders, and you're not going to see anybody on the lead lap here stay out. I think everybody's going to hit the pits here. As I say that, I get proven wrong right off the bat here. Jim Brooks, he's going to hit the pits. I'm not sure about the strategy for that 76 car. Yeah, you want clean air, But if you pit here, Steve, you're pretty much good to go on one more stop. So now he's kind of banking on cautions being the kind of the theme of the race here to help him keep this lead.
I don't know. As a crew chief, I would question that move because everybody else that pitted just now, I doubt that they're going to pit again until they're within the window to just pit one more time. So
Yeah,
Jim he'll get to lead some laps here, but he's still going to have to pit twice between
correct.
now and
And it looks like there's one. Or no, actually, I'm sorry. I think the 099 of Jimmy Drynan, I think he may have missed his pit stall. So I think he drove through the pits but didn't actually make a pit stop there. So he's showing in second right now. I'm assuming he'll pit this next time around. What's going to happen though is you see these cars behind that 76 car though. Say they're going to be probably a little bit unhappy with him because they're hoping that they would be able to cycle through here, be on the tail end of the lead lap, and get a wave around. It works for Charles Teed. Charles Teed was the lucky dog. He's back on the lead lap in that 0.5. But if you're Dwight Plesh, James Ledford, Bud Steele, Joe Fierro, you really wish that 76 would have pitted there. That way you could have stayed out, got a wave around and get one of those laps back here. So that's going to throw off their pit strategy here. As you can see, they're going to go ahead and make that pit stop now. As you can see, that 76 is going to stay out and keep the lead here. So he and actually looks like the 099 he's going to decide to stay out as well. So actually it's going to be Jim Brooks and then Jimmy Drynan. I don't know why I keep doing that. Are going to be 1-2 here on this restart.
So I guess that's gonna if Dryden actually missed his pit stall, that's gonna put them both in the same strategy. And let's see.
Yeah.
Jim Brooks last pitted at lap 14, so
It's been about 22 laps. So, I mean, he's only got about, with the caution here, I'd say he can probably go, let's say, another 15 laps, I would say, maybe to. Again, we talked about the pit window being around 34, 33 laps, so he can probably go another 15 or so before he has to make a pit stop under green. But like you said, though, everybody else here on back, Matt Wagner being the first of those, they should all be able to one-stop it here to the end.
yes.
So I think right now this is just the strategy call is are you banking on cautions playing a role in this, or if anybody's expecting to go green to the end. I think what Jim saw there was the fresh tires didn't work for anybody to get around Matt Wagner, so he wants to lead this race here, and I think he's just going to be banking for a timely caution where he's going to pit and then hopefully bring the rest of the field with him as well. But again, he's going to have a lot of luck for this to pan out for him here.
Yeah, definitely. And I highly doubt that in the next 15 laps that he'll have a caution that will let all the other cars to come in with him.
Exactly right. So I think what's going to happen is it's very likely there will be another caution. Just the way this track is, how difficult it is to run together. There's definitely a good chance of a caution coming out. However, I suspect we won't see any of the leaders here that pitted there come in again until closer to maybe that lap 60 mark or so of this race.
Yeah, that's what I think also.
So we'll see. I mean, it's Vegas. I mean, you got to do some gambling. So say Jim Brooks and Jimmy Drynan, they're rolling dice here tonight. So we'll see if this strategy, if this gamble pays off for them or not. So say those two going to restart 1-2. Matt Wagner, he's going to lose the clean air on that number 99 car. Obviously, was definitely enjoying that previously. So now he's going to have some work to do, and he's got his outside front row associate there, AJ Musselman, there in the 4th spot right behind him. So we'll have to wait and see. And then actually looks like pit stops really played a role too now that I'm looking at, because look at Eric Schaus, he's up to 6th. His championship rival there, Craig Forsyth, he's back in 10th position.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big difference between those two. I'm thinking that something must have happened to Craig on his pit stop.
Yeah, either that or maybe something happened prior to the caution. But pace car's in. Jim Brooks going to drop the hammer. He's back undergrading again. You can see Eric Schaus. He had to jump to the outside, not to run into the back of that car in front of him. And that's the risk of being a little further back in the pack. I'm sure that came into some of those drivers' minds as well, as Jim's going to lead here through turns 1 and 2. He's got a pretty decent gap to start off with over Jimmy Drynan. However, again, that draft's going to bring everybody back here within about a lap or so.
And it looked like Eric Schaus was making a move on Corey Lane there.
Yeah, let's jump back to that 72 car. And yeah, you're right. He's trying to get underneath the 10 of Corey Lane. This would be for a top 5 position for Eric to get around him. Let's say, but yeah, definitely a close call on that restart. Had to make a quick evasive move to avoid getting damage to that 72 car. And again, that's just some of the risks that you have to do when you're a little further back in these fields. So again, that might be part of that strategy for these guys up front to do this pit strategy like they're doing here. So right now, first driver. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, this looks familiar, doesn't it? The lead car protecting the bottom and the second place car getting a run on the outside but not going anywhere.
Yeah, so this is going to be, if you're Matt Wagner here, I think what you do is, I was going to say exactly what he's doing, but as I said, Jimmy's going to kind of go down to the bottom there. I think if you're Matt Wagner, you want to try to get around the 099 of Jimmy Drynan, get behind the 76 of Jim Brooks, use the draft to get by that car, and then see if you can use those fresher tires to make an advancement over the other 76 of Jim Brooks. And as you can see, as they're coming through the backstretch here, he is on the inside, but again, though, I think that aero push already starting to play a role in that car. You can see, just cannot hug the bottom like that 76 can.
Yeah, I noticed in practice it was maybe 2 laps in when the aero push started becoming a problem for me.
Yeah, so I think that's what we're going to see here. And actually, as I said, here comes AJ Musselman. He gets a big run behind the 099 of Jimmy Drynan. But again, just right now, these cars can get there. There's just nowhere you can go. So you kind of hit that wall of air or the aero push. So say take your pick, and that's going to pretty much put you to a standstill here. As you can see, also just off the back of that group is that 72 Eric Schaus. I think Eric right here, I think he's just trying to play things cool to, let's say, be in this lead pack, but not be too up close to it, just in case something happens. As I say, you can see these drivers still running 2x2 here for that lead. Oh, actually, contact, I think it was net code, unfortunately, between Jim and Jimmy Drynan. Say, Drynan is stuck on the wall, bring the caution out, so you can see, lost that right front tire. He's going to try to see if he's going to limp it to the pits. He is. So that's actually not a bad call here. If he can get that thing to the pits, it might save him from going down a lap. If he can keep the momentum up in that car with the damage. Unfortunately, that's going to put us back under caution. From where I was sitting, I'll say we were watching that as it happened, Steve. It looked like, unfortunately, it's a really bad case of net code.
Yeah, that did look that way.
And we'll take a look here one more time as they enter turn number 3, try to find a good shot to get a good view of it here.
If it wasn't net code, they barely touched each other.
No, there was definitely some gap between the two of them, but I mean, they were close, but yeah, unfortunately, say just wrong place, wrong time, and yeah, just a little bit of that net code connection between those two drivers. And so yeah, so unfortunately, Jimmy just gets kind of pinned up into the outside wall. He has hit the pits though. We'll see if he's able. Yeah, he's able to get out here, so he's going to hold on to the lead. So that's going to be the first big break for Jimmy's to stay on the lead lap here with that pit stop. Obviously, he'll have to restart in the back. And a little more surprising is that 76 Jim Brooks, he stays out. So, I mean, at this point, he's going to have to pit here, Steve. I would say within pretty much 10 laps of this restart at this point, I would guess.
Yeah, I would guess that too. I had it pegged for like lap 48 to 50. And we're at lap 44 right now. Something else that happened just before the wreck, so you may have missed this. They went in 2x2 into turns 1 and 2 before the wreck happened, and AJ Musselman got a good run on the outside of Matt Wagner. I think Matt probably had to back off in the middle of the turn because he was worried about pushing off it. And AJ had such a good run, he got past Matt Wagner, and it's possible that may decide the race right there.
Yeah, you're right. AJ Musselman now showing in that second spot over Matt Wagner. So again, saying that's just kind of how these things go here. You gotta figure out where to position your car. Maybe try to see if you can use a little bit of strategy, find the preferred line, if you will, where you can maybe move a little bit forward. Because let's say just that little bit can definitely play a big outcome. And I'd be curious to see if maybe does that third line come into play at some point in this race. Does someone try to go just that little bit higher to give themselves some clean air on the nose of those cars, and then also then be able to try to do a big exit off the turn to maybe try to cut underneath one or two of those drivers as well. Do need to mention the 44 Dwight Plush got one of his 2 back, so he is back to just 1 lap down. So that's going to leave him 1 down, James Ledford 2 down, Bud Steele 3 down, and then Joe Fierro 5 laps down still. So we still have 16 on the lead lap, and then 4 cars a lap or more down. As we mentioned, Charles Teed was back on the lead lap. He went ahead and used this caution to try. I think he's trying to go off strategy in that 05 car. So he's going to be the first car that came in and out of the pits there under this caution as well. So and Charles is going to restart. It looks like in the 14th position. And again, this is where the strategy can come into play, though, on the potential of the green flag pit stops. Especially, I mean, right now, if you're Jim Brooks, again, you've got maybe at best 10 laps before you're going to have to make a green flag pit stop.
And it looks like Eric Schaus is playing some fuel savings game down on the apron. He's, by the way, up to 5th place, and his competitor for the championship, Craig Forsyth, is up to 7th. So they are once again within spitting distance of each other.
Eric used strategy and save fuel? Never. Yeah, no, I say you're exactly right. I'm sure Eric's trying to save every drop of fuel in that car. Saying the other thing that comes into play too is the fuel strategy. Depending on the cautions and everything like that, that could make their final pit stop be a shorter stop where they don't need to fill it to the tank, to the brim on fuel. So they might be able to do like a short fill or something like that to go their route. So I think what you see Eric here doing is just trying to save every ounce he can in that 72 car.
So basically to make it a faster pit stop and gain some spots that way.
Yep, exactly right, Steve. So yeah, so and that also comes into play here as well as just whether or not like if and when we get to that situation, is there a strategy? Do you maybe do fuel only on one of these stops to get you that track position? That is obviously a difficult one to make these passes, because if you can pit and let's say take a 3 or 4 second stop just for fuel instead of that 7-8 second stop for tires, that could be enough to get you from, let's say, 3rd or 4th, 5th to P1 possibly.
Yep. Well, I'm really curious to see how far Jim Brooks can go on fuel, because I don't know, maybe he can actually get to where he only has to pit one more time, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, it'll be curious. I mean, he is sponsored by Unocal, so maybe they rigged up a little special fuel tank in that 76 car. So I'll say if so, he may not pass tech. I'm sure the competitors will definitely call him out on that one. So we'll wait and see, though. Like I said, I think maybe 10 laps is about the max he can get before he has to make that pit stop. So that being said, the green flag's back out. Jim Brooks is going to lead the way here over AJ Musselman, 2nd, Matt Wagner there in 3rd.
Let's see, Jim Brooks last pitted on lap 14, so we have gone 34 laps with a bunch of caution laps in there, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's probably been about 10 or so, maybe not 10 caution laps, so somewhere in that range. So yeah, so that's enough to save a couple laps right off the bat. And the other thing is he's going to have to try to, as safely as he can, possibly enter this pit road under green. And I mean, I saw some drivers practice it, and again, we talked about that banking transition. It will not be easy for these drivers to make that happen.
We got AJ Musselman trying to pass on the outside, and we still have the same thing from before. Same thing we've seen all race. Jim Brooks doing a good job protecting the inside, and so far at least, AJ not able to complete a pass on the outside.
Yeah, he's definitely getting good momentum. You can see actually pretty much gets the wings lined up, say just as a nose ahead here entering turn 3. The one thing that Jim does have going for him, even though he's low, has the older tires and everything, will likely need to make a green flag pit stop pending on a caution, is he is lighter on fuel than these cars. So that will give these cars just a little bit extra top end speed with these things. So it's one of those things that's kind of a balance of the tires versus the fuel. And right now Jim's got all that clean air on the nose of the car, so he's able to take advantage of that. And then of course as well the lighter fuel load on that car.
And Musselman had to back off a little bit coming off of turn 2, and I noticed that Matt Wagner got a huge run underneath him, but wasn't able to complete the pass.
Yeah, say Matt's trying to follow that through now. You can see him just trying to get his nose just a little bit further underneath the of the 76 to try to get that little bit of fresh air on the nose and front wing of that car. So you'll see Matt really trying to hug that white line, but You can see, though, him doing that's kind of pinned him down a little bit. It's lost his top end, so now that's opened the door for Corey Lane to sneak out on the outside of him in that number 10 car as well. And here come our championship rivals to say Rachel mentioned they're probably going to give her some anxiety, and so here they are running in that 5th and 6th position, going for that maximum anxiety mode for her.
I think that's the second time that Matt Wagner's gotten passed on the outside like that when he's been in heavy traffic. I think that he must be having a little bit more trouble with his car pushing on the inside than some of the other guys are having.
Well, I think what's happened is every time he's run the inside line, someone gets to his outside, uses that momentum around him. So I think you can see he's actually staying committed to the top here. Again, though, right now at some point I'm sure we're gonna see that 76 drop off, and again, you would assume you're gonna see at some point he's gonna obviously call over the chat here to these drivers like, hey, I got to pit this time, next time, whatever it may be. And that's going to be the next thing, is these drivers are going to have to make sure that they give him some room. Oh, as a big net code there, AJ Musselman getting Corey Lane. Nothing that Corey did wrong there, just huge net code. And that's going to be the caution that Jim Brooks is looking for, as one car sneaks by there of AJ Musselman. But we were watching that again as it happened, and just nothing AJ did wrong there. There's unfortunately, just again to say, one of the things that's a word you'll hear with iRacing frequently is netcode, and unfortunately that was just a big situation of netcode between that 10 and the 54.
And that's a shame, because AJ was a strong contender to win this race tonight.
Yeah, no, he's been up front, been in contention. You can see him as they enter turn number 1 here. You can see the gap between the two cars, and then all of a sudden, it's as if the 54 gets a shot, and you can see the distance between them here. They were nowhere near one another, and almost actually maybe even been netcode. I'm not sure if it was between the 10 and the 54, maybe even the 76 and the 54. But either way, though, AJ was a mile away from those cars when he had that netcode happen to him. The only other thing I could think of is maybe if there was actually, if something happened to his wheel, if maybe like the wheel broke or something like on his rig, I should say. Maybe the steering wheel broke or something like that, because we have seen things like that happen before. Oh, as you can see, it was Jimmy Dryden that just snuck on by there. So here comes our pit stops, though, as well. And say Jim Brooks, actually, he's getting a bit of a break here, Steve. He's got a lot of cars in the pits with him. Only driver staying out is that number 10 of Corey Lane. So that gamble, It's going to pay off here.
Yeah, it definitely paid off then. I wonder if that means that the rest of these guys feel they can make it the rest of the way now.
Well, I think what you're going to see here is this is the kind of the plan A, plan B, if you will. As you can see, Eric Schaus. Oh, Eric's going to jump up into the second spot after this pit stop cycle, so a great stop for him. He's going to move on forward here on that pit stop, restart behind the 76 of Jim Brooks. And actually, one more time here, I noticed one of these cars came on through the pits but did not pit. Oh, actually, I believe that was the lap car of Jimmy Dryden, so he was actually one lap down there in the 32 car. So right now, the only driver now, let's say that again, we talked about the gamble. Only driver to gamble here now is that 10 of Corey Lane.
Well, if these guys can make it to the end without having to pit again, then Jim Brooks' gamble paid off beautifully.
Yeah, it's going to be curious to see. I mean, again, so now we're in that window. We're going to be talking about Corey Lane and his fuel strategy. We talked about that window being 33, 34 laps. So for Corey, he's right now on lap 23 of his run. So he can probably go another 10, we'll say maybe 15, and give him a little bit of extra wiggle room here, laps to go on fuel. So we'll see if that comes into play. Also need to mention Dwight Plush back on the lead lap in the 44 car. So he is back in the running here. Unfortunately, Taylor Lane is one down. However, is the only driver one down, so that's going to play into his hands here to take advantage of a future caution. But yeah, so what's going to happen though, Steve, is like I said, if it's just going to really all depend on the cautions here. We saw that 76, he made a really long run there, banking on the cautions, and it worked out just perfectly for him. I have a feeling he was probably a couple laps away from pitting there. So now Corey Lane, he's going to be in that same position here. Probably hopes that he sees a caution in about probably 10, 15 laps, and that way he comes in and most likely brings most of the field in with him. Possibly some drivers stay out, though, to try to bank on that caution strategy as well. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, here's some math for you. Jim Brooks went 42 laps on that last tank. Guess how many laps are left in the race?
Yeah, so we're at 43 to go here, and they still have another lap to go, so they're going to restart with 41 to go. And you know these drivers are all in full fuel save. I'm a little surprised we don't see Eric running the apron like he did earlier there. You see Craig Forsyth, he's kind of half on the apron there. I see one there a little further back there, trying to catch what car that was. I think that may have been, nope, it's not David Leclerc. Who's that, Benjamin Combs in the 77 possibly? Oh, I think it's actually Cart's a lap down, I apologize. Yeah, it's the driver that's lapped. It's about to pit. I thought someone was going full save there.
Yeah, Eric's down on the apron now. So is Craig. I'm thinking, maybe somebody was listening in on you saying that and planted a seed.
Well, I mean, we've got some ears that can also relate to the driver. I'll say won't name names, but definitely married to one of our racers here. So yeah, don't want to call her out or anything though.
Her name does start with J.
Yeah, so we'll see though, Steve. I'll say I'm curious on this one. Again, though, I'll say now Jim Brooks, he's going to be in that kind of that awkward spot where he's going to, I believe he's going to have to run the same thing, kind of just run on the outside of the 10 of Corey Lane. So we'll see though. I mean, again, he's gonna, if he can get a good restart, maybe he can find a way to sneak a little bit inside of that 10 car. I say if Jim could get the lead here, I mean that would obviously be a huge boost for him in the track position battle and all of that. But again, I feel like we're going to see the same thing that all these drivers have been doing here. They're going to be protecting that inside line. So it's up to Corey Lane here again. He's going to control this restart this time around. So we'll see if he's going to go early or late. So far, everybody's been running a little bit later on the exit. We'll see if Corey's going to react a little earlier than these drivers. But no, he's going to wait a little bit as well. He is down and away. And you can see, again, a pretty good restart for Corey on here. You can see Eric Schaus wasting no time. He's right on the rear wing of that 76 of Jim Brooks. Definitely one of the closer ones on this restart.
What are the points like between Eric and Craig Forsyth?
It is a 10-point difference between the two of them. You can see Corey already blocking there, blocking the draft in the backstretch. Yeah, it's a 10-point difference advantage Craig at the moment. So yeah, it's going to be really tight between them, and you can see right away Jim Brooks, he's going to jump to that top side like we mentioned. And so it's going to kind of, again, figure out who wants to go where. Does Eric run the bottom? Does he run the top? And then once that happens, does Craig react and try to do the opposite, maybe try to steal a spot away from him? And say right behind him in fifth is that number 99 of Matt Wagner. And say if I'm Matt here, I think you stay to the top. You've seen him get burned in the bottom more often than not. So I think you got to kind of keep that momentum on the top side if you're Matt Wagner.
Yeah, I think so too. Although he doesn't have anybody behind him right now that can make a move, so he can kind of go anywhere he wants to.
And he just did exactly that. He went from all the way to the top and cut it down to the bottom. So I think he's starting to try some things and see what it will do for him. You see Eric Schaus, he does the same now. He goes to that third lane, try to get some clean air in the nose of that 72 car. So I think we're starting to see those drivers maybe do what we had talked about, trying some of these different lines now. Keep the clean air on those cars and see if it comes into play. So again, I don't think it's going to be a move for Eric to make a pass, but it will be a move for him to allow him to keep some clean air on that nose. And again, I say if he's up top, it's going to force Craig to go to the inside. And again, we haven't seen anybody really make progress on the inside, even with the differing tire strategies and fuel strategies.
Yeah, and I would think that these guys, everyone other than Corey Lane, is probably going to be taking it a little bit easy to try and save fuel.
Yeah, so right now the two drivers that really probably are saving no fuel right now are the 10 and the 76. They're both in the clean air. I mean, there's no way Jim is lifting at this point. His foot's going to be to the floor on the outside line. I say if you're Eric, if you're Craig, if you're Matt, you can probably save a little bit here, actually. As you can see, though, this time Eric gets a really good run there off 4, is able to almost get to the outside of Jim Brooks there through the tri-oval. But yeah, again, you're going to see a lot of differing lines here. So right now Corey's on lap 31 of this run. So again, he's probably got about, I would say, at most 8-9 more laps before he has to make his green flag pit stop. But what's going to happen here, Steve, is if we do stay green like we are, these drivers, even those that have already made their pit stops under this last caution, they're still going to have to pit as well. I believe they would be approximately, I want to say it'd be like, what, be 5-10 laps short if our math is right?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking if it stays green the whole way, then they'll probably have to pit with about 8 or 10 to go. But I don't know. I mean, if they save fuel, maybe they can make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the question. If that is the case, who's gonna be the one to do so? So you have a lot of drivers now kind of joining up in this lead pack, and that's kind of, again, we mentioned, it's like if you're that lead car, you're kind of breaking the air for everybody. You can see this whole about the top 10, top 12 here, all right now within distance of this lead pack here. Let's say the problem is once you get there, there's just not a lot of options of where you can go here. So. Say Jim Brooks doing what he can here, running that middle line. Here goes again Eric Schaus. He runs to the top there. As like, again, I don't think that's going to be a way to make the win here for Eric Schaus, but he is able to keep some really good clean air on that nose and really help that aero push. And that might be the next thing, Steve, is if you can keep the clean air on these nose of these cars, your tires won't be hurting as bad. That might allow you to, again, we talked about that strategy call, maybe pull some strategy, maybe try that fuel-only stop under caution if we get a green flag pit stop and do a fuel-only stop instead of a tire stop.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kyle.
Which, if we do get to the green flag stop potentials here, the next thing is that pit exit. It is treacherous, so I don't know how different it'll be on new tires versus old tires. But that's definitely going to be a trouble spot as well for these drivers. So that'll be the next question. Is I think at that point you're going to have these drivers figure out, do you want to pit early or late? But we got to get there first, so I won't count my chickens yet. As Corey Lane, he still leads the way. We have 31 to go, 30 to go next time by. And again, Corey Lane, he's on lap number 36 of this run, so we're going to see that 10 here not too distant future be hitting the pit road in that number 10 machine. I suspect probably about 3 to 4 more laps before he's going to have to make a pit stop in that car.
Let's see, he last pitted lap 34. I'm going to give him to lap 76, so five or six more laps.
I don't think he can go that far. I don't think he's had the cautions like Jim had, so we'll see though. The other thing though is Jim is actually getting a little bit more progress to the outside of that 10 car. But again, though, I'm sure these drivers are a little afraid to squeeze each other, as we've seen that netcode really bite some of these drivers tonight. So that's going to be the next thing. But say while we watch this, I got to talk about some of these other drivers. Let's say they're having some pretty solid runs here. Hopefully no commentators curse though. Say David Leclerc, he is right there in that 6th position. He's in a nice little calm pocket for the moment. Behind him, you got Michael Spell there in 7th. And then moving a little bit forward here now, Gary Corley, haven't really talked about him too much. He is up into the 9th spot. And then that's why he misses the 77. Benjamin Combs just in front of him. Benjamin here running in the 8th position.
Matt Wagner got around Craig Forsyth, so he's in the 4th spot.
Yeah, you're right. Matt Wagner now up into 9th. Or sorry, up to 4th. So now, I'm saying this is one of the things. Did Matt pass him on just outright speed or maybe the right move? Or is Craig playing that fuel-saving game in that number 27 car? So, again, that's where this all comes into. It's kind of wild. You kind of guess like, oh yeah, say Matt just probably got a good draft and made it happen. But Craig and Eric and Jim, all these guys, they're wily, man. They know these strategies that they can pull, and they're going to try to obviously do everything to their advantage here. So we'll see. Actually, I think your guesstimation here is going to be right on, Steve, because we're starting lap number 75 this time around. So you said 76, if I'm not mistaken, right? 76
or 77.
All right, so. Say if
Forget
that's
a jackpot.
I was gonna say, I mean, you need to hit the lottery after this one if you're able to nail this strategy down. I think that Powerball and Mega Millions are looking pretty good right now, if I heard.
I have to run out and get a ticket.
Oh, Corey! Oh, he has to hit the apron here. This is gonna be sketchy for him. He backs off of it though, able to hang on to. Say you saw Corey got a little bit loose off of turn number 4. Gathered to back up there, so that's going to lose the clean air for him, though. So this is going to be kind of a really bad spot for Corey. He's obviously going to, again, he has to pit here soon, but he's going to lose that clean air on that number 10 car. So that car is going to start pushing really badly. As you can see, it washes up there off of turn number 4. But yeah, here he goes, Steve, one more time around. So we start lap number 77. He's still staying out. And then cycles the lead now back over to the 76 of Jim Brooks. Eric Schaus moves his way up to 2nd. And here comes Matt Wagner trying to see if he can squeeze by. He does. He's going to move up into that 3rd spot. Now Craig Forsyth. And here he goes. I think Corey Lane's going to pit this time. You saw him duck to the inside. So I think that was probably him calling that pit stop. And
yeah,
here he comes. He's
oh, no.
This could bring out the caution. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it. It actually makes the pit entry cone as well. So we stay green. So that was the worry I had also about the pit stop, the pit entry, I should say. So Corey Lane, he's going to hit the pits here. He's going to lose a little bit of time from that slide. So yeah, so almost had a caution there, but we stay green. Jim Brooks now, he's going to take over that lead over Eric Schaus in second now. Matt Wagner up into that third position. Craig Forsyth in fourth. Then David Leclerc right now in fifth with Benjamin comes right on the back. Oh, I see trouble in the front stretch, actually. 32 car. Taylor Lane somehow gets it pointed straight quickly. We still stay green. They're trying to have a caution here, Steve, but somehow we stay green again.
And it looks like Corey Lane only lost a lap there, am I right?
Yes, right now Corey Lane is just one lap down. His goal here is he's got to make sure he has a clean pit exit, doesn't spin out or anything like that. It looks like he's on the backstretch cleanly now, so that's a good pit stop for him on the exit side of things. So he's going to lose again. He's going to lose a little time on the entry. We'll see how that shakes things out. But one thing Corey does have right now, he has nice clean air in front of him, so he can basically just start hammering down here. So the next thing is for these leaders that are up front, they can go again probably about 10, maybe 11 more laps here on this fuel run, which, like you said, Steve, that's going to put them right around that 8-9 lap to go window. So that's going to be, if we stay green, that's where strategy time comes into play here. I don't think we're going to see anybody short pit. I think everybody's going to go as long as possible. Just again, we've seen some near incidents not happen, and so I think these drivers are going to want to wait here and not be that one to potentially bring out a caution. As I said, though, David Payton, he's going to prove me wrong. He's going to hit the pits from the, I believe, right around the 7th or 8th position in that 38 car. So David, one of the first of the leaders to make a pit stop here in that 38 machine. So we'll keep an eye on him. Again, he's going to go a lap down. That's just, these cars right now, again, they're averaging about 25-second laps here. So yeah, you're going to go a lap down. There's just no way around it. But the question is, of course, depending on where you get out on track, maybe take advantage. And here he's already down and away. Looks like it's 7.6 second pit stop for David Payne, so that's going to be tires and fuel for him. So now same thing, he's going to have a clean pit stop, or clean pit exit, I should say, and see where he cycles out, which it looks like he'll definitely cycle ahead of Corey Lane. So I say that slide for Corey definitely going to cost him some time.
I'm just surprised that David didn't keep it out there as long as he could possibly go, like the rest of these guys are I anticipate going to do, because they're all going to be hoping for a caution to come out.
Yeah, so, and I think that's David just, he's like, again, we talked about, I mean, you're going to roll a dice sometimes, and I think David was in that position where he was in the top 10, but not in a really great spot to really be able to capitalize. So I think what he's trying here is he wants to try the fresh tire strategy, go early, and see if that's going to work out for him. So I'll say the next thing will be, we'll have to watch his lap times and see, is he quicker than the leaders, and if so, by how much? Because all these leaders here, a lot of them are in dirty air, so they're not going to be going as fast as some of the others. As right now, what's happened here is we've actually separated just a little bit. You can see the 50 of David Leclerc. He is in fourth, but he's under pressure now from the 27 of David Leclerc. But they're about a second now off of the back of that 99 of Matt Wagner. So they're a distance, or they're at risk of losing this main draft here for these top three. Also, the 19, Kyle Hess, he's pitting here with 15 to go. So say Kyle, another one of those ones that was towards the lead lap, was in the lead lap towards the front, has hit the pits. So again, we'll see about the pit strategy. Looks like also 4 tires and fuel for that 19 car, 7.8 second pit stop. So he is down and away, and trying to see where is that 38 of David Payton. See where they cycle out amongst each other. And it looks like David Payton, he's going to get around, so he's going to cycle through in front. However, though, here's going to be some trouble for the leader, Steve. They are coming up on lap traffic and saying they're light on fuel, their tires are worn. They're going to have to kind of make sure that they pick their battles here, make sure that they keep that clean air on these noses here.
And I don't know if you looked at what David was running. I haven't, but the leaders are running 25.3, 25.4.
Last time by, Corey Lane ran a 25.0, so 0.3 of a second faster for the 10 car. Looking for David Payton ran a 25.3, apologies. So also still a little, just about the same as the leaders here. But I think he was probably still kind of getting up to speed a little bit in that 38 car. So we'll say we'll keep an eye, like you said, we definitely got to keep an eye on those lap times, because I think they really will kind of do a telltale for what could happen here.
Well, so far this has stayed green since the last caution.
Oh, and Kyle Hess, he's back in the pit, so may have had a pit penalty there in the 19 car, unfortunately. So So he had that win for that pit strategy is not panned out for him, unfortunately, as he's now down into 16th position. Say again, that fuel window, it's going to be very soon for a lot of these leaders. They're going to need to make that pit stop here under green, pending, of course, caution not coming out. Do need to mention Craig Forsyth. He has gotten around David Leclerc, so he hasn't been able to actually grab the toe of Matt Wagner. And I say Matt's actually starting to close the gap as well on Eric Schaus. So right now, 1, 2, 3, still a really close distance. Also, 27 not too far behind as well. So 10 laps to go here, Steve, though. So it's, again, this final pit window is going to be opening shortly. Actually, I think here comes the 76. Yep, here comes Jim Brooks. He's going to hit the pits from the lead.
And I would guess if Jim's having to pit now, all the rest of these guys are going to have to pit.
Yeah, I would suspect that as well. So the question now is going to be, again, does anybody gamble? So far, everybody's taking tires here on their pit stops. So Eric Schaus, he's going to be in the lead now. So he's, we'll see if he pits this time around. You can see Matt Wagner, he's kind of arced off to the outside. But no, Eric's been, okay, so Eric's had some fuel savings there in that number 72 car. Don't think it's going to be enough to make it to the end, but we'll see how things shake out right now. So right now, our top three have yet to make pit stops here. And I believe that's, for the most part, drivers up front. Those are the only drivers that that haven't pitted yet. Oh, and as I said, caution comes out right in the middle of the cycle. I think it may have been the 48 of James Ledford. You see him spinning on entry. And that's exactly why those drivers waited as long as possible to make that pit stop.
Yep, that was definitely a stroke of luck right there.
All right, let's go back and see. So you see the 48 here trying to hit the pits and say, again, we talked about that transition just being a really dangerous position here. And you can see right now he's kind of just straddling the white line there. And yes, and from there, just that car just snaps around on him there, unfortunately. Saying, looks like, yeah. So he came back on track, just barely avoided the 44 Dwight Plush. Dwight just barely able to sneak by him. And that's going to be where that caution came out between the two of them there. However, luckily for James, no harm, no foul. He's able to get it back spun around and get going again, and without anybody else getting involved in it. So, again, huge break for our leaders here. Going to be, obviously, you can see them all running the apron, probably very low on fuel. So now it's going to be Eric Schaus, Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth. They're going to hit the pits here together. Oh, yeah, I think they have to. So here comes Craig. He was faking it like he was going to stay out, but he pits as well.
Yeah, I think they just went too many laps under green for this yellow to help them make it to the end, unfortunately. So,
and the other thing that we mentioned, Steve, too, sorry to cut you off there, is remember there are going to be no green-white checkers here. So this is going to be it here. And watching Eric Schaus, I don't see that car lifting up, so I think he may be doing fuel. Oh, I'm sorry, he was up in the air, so he did take tires there. So he's down away. Craig's down and away. Can Matt Wagner, is that number one pit stall might do the trick here for Matt Wagner. I think it's going to be tight between the two of them. Who won the race off of pit road? It was tight between that 72 and the 99. We'll have to wait and see. It looks like it might go to that
Matt
99.
got it.
All right.
Matt got it.
So we'll see. I say so. Also got to mention 76 Jim Brooks got the lucky dog. He's back on the lead lap. Obviously not what he wanted to have happen there. However, he is going to cycle back through, and he looks like he's going to be actually restarting right behind these guys, because what we're going to see here is we've got a huge group of cars here, Steve, all trapped a lap or more down. Let me try to find who's the first car in that group. I think it's the 6 of Bud Steele. We have a lot of cars here in front of our race leader of now Matt Wagner that did not pit here or pitted under green and are trapped a lap or more down. So you can see from there all the way back to that blue car of Matt Wagner, all of these drivers here are going to be taking the wave around on the one to go. So that will be a small benefit for the 76 of Jim Brooks, as he's going to have to cycle. Actually, as I say, he's hitting the pits here, which I didn't suspect I would see. I'm saying, actually, I'm showing the pits showing us closed there, so hopefully not a pit penalty for him.
Well, he had the lucky dog, right?
He did. Okay, yeah, you're right. So maybe what he's going to do is just get some fresh tires just to kind of have it in store as well. So we'll see. I say we'll have to keep an eye, see if he has to pit under green or not on the restart. However, though, we are still under caution here. So, and lights are not off of the pace car either. So right now we have 5 to go. So I believe we'll get the 1 to go with 4 to go, which means we'll restart here with 3 laps to go. Again, like I mentioned, this is going to be the run to the finish. If there's a caution before we get that white flag, this race will end under caution here. So Say again, they're mimicking the Indy Series rules a little bit, so let's say the green-white checker is not in play anymore. So this is going to get interesting. I mean, obviously, if you're Matt Wagner, I mean, first off, you're going to want to get a really good restart, and then from there, I mean, just got to protect the inside line. And so, unfortunately, I say if you're Eric Schaus, obviously you see your championship rival right behind you there, Craig Forsyth. So your options are going to be pretty limited. And also got to give a shout out here for that 44 Dwight Plesh. He stayed out there. He's been running the strategy. He is in the 4th position, Steve. He started 21st. He actually started shotgun in the field. He's gone from 21st to 4th here. So hopefully Dwight can keep this thing going and bring it to the end and bring home a solid top 5 finish as well.
Yep, I'm showing Gary Corley in 5th place. And I think Jim Brooks made a good decision to go in and get tires there. Because he's technically the last car on the lead lap right now. All the cars that took waiver rounds are still going to be on older tires.
Yep,
so
and they're going to have to restart behind him. He's going to have to restart a few lap cars. You can see there, he's had to let a couple guys by there. I think that was Taylor Lane that went by. Also the 48 James Ledford. So he's going to have a few cars between himself and the leaders. But you're right, though. So right now, though, the top 5 are all packed together here. Like I said, Gary Corley in 5th. And then in front of him, again, Dwight Plesh in the 44, Craig Forsyth in the 27, Eric Schaus in the 72, and now our race leader, pole sitter Matt Wagner in that 99. And as definitely got to mention, lights are off on the pace car, so we are going to get things going again here this time around. So we're going to restart this thing, Steve, with 3 laps to go.
And I think barring anything crazy happening here, this should be Matt Wagner's race because it's going to be really hard for Eric to get by him.
I'm going to update my prediction. He's going to finish in the top 18. All right, the pace car is in. We'll see what Matt's going to do here. Does he go early? Does he go late? Looks like he is waiting a little bit. Okay, he is down and away and does get a really good start there of Eric Schaus. However, Craig Forsyth, he was ready. He is right on the rear wing of that 72 of Eric Schaus as they hit turn number 1 and 2. Again, 3 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Again, if another caution comes out, that will end it. So these drivers are going to need to try to be on their their best manners here and make it to the end and get to that white flag. You see Craig Forsyth, he's trying to peek to the outside of Eric Schaus. Again, we talked about the draft and the momentum. Oh, as I say, that caution is out. It's the 50 of David Leclerc. He is heavy damage to that car. And unfortunately, that's going to bring the yellow back out. And I believe that will finish this race under yellow here tonight. Let's go back and see what happened to that number 50. You say he's in a big battle here with a few cars around him. Actually, I think he had the 10 of Corey Lane. Oh, yeah, he actually kind of washed up a little bit. Corey Lane trying to kind of run that middle groove, and unfortunately just wound up hitting contact between the two of them. And so that's going to put that 50 up in the wall, and unfortunately ends his night early as well. I think it was right around the top 10, and David's just been one of these drivers, Steve. He's just been snake bit, it seems like. Just nothing he can do. Just always winds up kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just not having the luck he needs. So I'll say, so right now we are on the 2 to go. Again, there are no green-white checkers this evening for the Indy Series, mimicking the real-life situation. And so that's going to put us here 1 to go under caution. So Matt Wagner just needs to make sure he doesn't stall that car, Steve, and I think he will get his win number 1 here at the Area 51 Racing League.
And it'll be nice not to have to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, so that monkey's going to be off his shoulders, and it's going to feel good, I can tell you now. I say, he, again, like you said, he has been in contention week in, week out. Just hasn't had the luck go his way. Finally got the caution timing he needed, and I think more critically, that number 1 pit stall, Steve. I think that's what did it. That was what gave him that shorter leap from his pit stall to the pit stop line. And I think that was enough to get him the win here tonight. So positions up front did not change. So Matt Wagner will wind up in the 1st position, Eric Schaus 2nd, Craig Forsyth 3rd, Dwight Plesh going to bring it home from 21st to 4th. So great job for that 44 of Dwight Plesh. Again, we've talked about him kind of lay back and bide his time and do what he needs to do. So Dwight able to get that done this evening in that number 44 Blue Angels machine. So I'm really happy to see Dwight get a good result here as well tonight. And like you mentioned too, Gary Corley, he's going to bring it home in that top 5. Gary using that pit strategy to his advantage as well. But up front, though, say we got to pull it back to our race winner here this evening. It's going to be that number 99, Matt Wagner, getting win number 1. Like you said, Steve, I think he had about 4 or 5 second place finishes, but that is going to be broken tonight as Matt Wagner crosses line, wins the race here tonight at Las Vegas. Again, our championship rivals, though, they finished 2nd and 3rd, so Eric's going to close the gap just a little bit over Craig, but not by much.
And it looks like Craig Forsyth finished in the pits. He went down pit road.
Not to check on that may have actually cost him a spot possibly as well. Hopefully didn't make the wrong decision there, but we're going to watch our race winner because I have a feeling this car is going to have very little tires left after he celebrates. He spins it through the grass here. And we'll kind of keep an eye on him, and hopefully he doesn't catch the pits as well. So, but yeah, Matt Wagner celebrating here a well-earned win tonight here at Las Vegas. So he's not even going to wait to get back on track. He's going to keep doing the donuts here in the pit stall, as now he's going to work his way back up onto the track.
I wondered.
Go ahead, Steve.
I wondered if Craig Forsyth ran out of fuel or if he pulled a Mark Martin there, because he lost his spot, showing him in 4th place.
Yeah, I say it could have been either. So actually, I say it's going to change our top 3. So what we'll do is this time I'm going to go through our final results before we pull up our interviews, just to make sure we get everything correct here. So as we watch Matt Wagner celebrate here, so what we'll do is while we watch that, we'll go over our final standings. So getting the win tonight, Matt Wagner over Eric Schaus, and you're right, Steve. Dwight Plush going to bring it home in 3rd position now. Craig Forsyth in 4th. Gary Corley rounds out our top 5. And then 6th through 10th, you've got Jim Brooks, Benjamin Combs, Michael Spell, Charles Teed, Jimmy Drynan in his first start, I believe, here getting a top 10 finish. And then 11th through 20th, you've got David Payton, Corey Lane, Paul Patterson, Bud Steele, David Leclerc, Taylor Lane, James Ledford, Kyle Hess, Joe Fierro. AJ Musselman was up front most of the evening, just really, really bad net code, unfortunately, ended his evening. And then in 21st position, that number 21 of John Brill, unfortunately, early damage and wind up finishing his race off very prematurely this evening. So while we continue to watch that number 99 celebrate, we're going to try to find our top 3 drivers. So give us just a moment, and then we'll pull. All right, so while we're watching that 99 we're going to see if I can grab Dwight. I'd love to be able to get a word with him as well for that top 3 finish. However, we're going to start with our 2nd place finisher here, which will be that number 72 of Eric Schaus. As we watch him come across the finish line here, so let's bring Eric on in. So Eric started in the 13th position, brought it home in 2nd. I mean, Eric, obviously tonight was going to be, as we saw, it's pretty much you wanted to have control of this race, and from there you're just going to be running that white line. So, I mean, you did a really good job of getting to the front, to the lead pack here after starting in that 13th position. But from there, is there anything maybe you would have tried to do differently had you had the opportunity?
No, I think I ran pretty close to a perfect race. I made one mistake on my last pit stop, spun the tires, and that gave up first place, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the way I ran. I don't think there was any chance of getting around the guy in first or second. I think you guys probably saw when Jim and Gary, I think maybe were racing back and forth. There was just no way that the third place guy could get involved and get around them. So yeah, I think I ran it the best I could, and I'm happy with the second. Disappointed that I gave up first, but I'm happy with the second.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't throw yourself under the bus too much on the spinning the tires either, though, because again, I mean, also that number one pit stall that's going to play a big role as well. So I don't know if that was enough to make a difference or not. I say obviously Matt Wagner able to do kind of a quicker drop and go to that caution line or to the pit stall line, I guess you'd say. But yeah, like you said, though, I mean, it was still, like you said, a really, really great run for you tonight. I see the other thing that might go in your favor a little bit is, let's say Steve and I are talking about, it looks like Craig may have pulled a Mark Martin there and pulled off before the finish of the race. And it's going to drop him, I mean, not a ton, but it's going to drop him from third to fourth in the results here tonight. So it's going to help you close that gap just a little bit here. And it's only 10 points going in. So every little point's going to help here.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about that is I've done it myself. So I feel for him.
Well, I'll say you guys are both in good company. So I'll say you've got a Hall of Fame driver that's done the same as well. So I'll say I wouldn't beat yourselves up over that too much.
Yeah. Well, we both gave up a position, so I think it's fair.
Eric, earlier in the race, I think you were as far back as 10th place, and I'm just wondering, like, what strategy did you use to work your way up towards the front?
It's just a lot of patience. Look for the runs, try and get under people when they're trying to make a move, follow other people through. Little things like that just really help you move through the field pretty quickly and fairly safely too. So that was pretty much my whole goal, starting near the back, just or mid pack, I think I was. Just try to get up towards the front. It's a long race. I'll get up to the front slowly. As long as I get there, I'm happy.
How worried were you at the end before that last caution came out, because you guys were all going to have to pit, right?
Yeah, I had about 0.4 gallons left, so I might have been able to make it one more lap. I was debating on. I think I was coming through turn 3 when the caution hit, and I was debating on whether or not I dive in then or if I push it for one more lap. I hadn't done the math on how much I was burning per lap, so it was going to be a risk. Fortunately, that caution came out, so that was a big relief, especially with me in the lead. So,
Where was the crew chief? Weren't they supposed to be doing that?
I forgot to ask. My father-in-law was in the chat. I forgot to ask him for a reading, and then I use the crew chief app, but I don't trust that thing all that much. I think it's good to get me close and ballpark me, but I'm glad the caution came out when it did.
Here you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say obviously, like I said, the timing was just perfect. Were you during that last run on the green? Were you trying to save fuel at all, or was it just kind of you were kind of forced to just with the aero push and where you were in that queue of cars?
Yeah, once Jim was in the lead there, I can't remember exactly where it was, but I realized after a while I was struggling just to keep up with the leader. So I was just trying to keep my tires from burning out and kind of save a little bit of fuel. I was doing a lot of fuel saving during the caution laps. I mean, I kind of figure if it buys me one lap extra, that's all I need, because with the way the cautions tend to come out during these pit cycles, all I need is one more lap than everybody else, and I'm happy. So that's why I tend to take that approach now. So yeah, I just got lucky. Happy with it.
You guys did an awesome job. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
It was exciting when you guys were coming out of the pits. It's like, who's gonna get it?
Yeah, we were so close, and it was the only time tonight that I spun the tires in the pits, and that's all it took was just a little bit of spin, and that was enough for Matt to get in front, which is great job on his part. Congrats on his first win in the league. So I know he's been right there, second and thirds, and all that kind of stuff. So glad he's finally got that win under his belt.
Yeah, we really needed to get that monkey off his back. So I'm sure he's thankful you spun the tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, great job though tonight, Eric. And say obviously definitely don't want to let you pass up the opportunity. Definitely want to let you give any thanks shouts you'd like to give for that run tonight.
Yeah, thanks to my father-in-law for hanging out in the Discord with me. Thanks to my wife for watching. Thanks to Area 51 for putting on such a great league. Thanks thanks to you guys for the great broadcast you do. It, I really do appreciate it because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to race anywhere near as much. So, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so you guys make it fun to do. I'm sure Steve is the same boat as me, but it's a lot of fun being a part of these, and I say you guys put on some awesome racing week in week out.
Yeah, I enjoy it very much.
Great. I'm glad we can do that for you guys.
All right, that is our second place finisher there, the 72 of Eric Schaus. So I'll say now we got to jump back over to our race winner. So I'm going to mess with him just a little bit here, though, just because might as well, right? So
I think so.
Going to pull in that number 99, Matt Wagner. Unfortunately, another second place finish. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. You actually got the win tonight, Matt. Good job there. Says that number 1 pit stall. I think that may have done the trick for you tonight, having that kind of that nice little exit there coming out of the pits, that shorter run to the end. Do you think that was what did the trick to get you that spot at the end?
Well, I was more concerned about fuel going to the end. I did not expect that caution to come out. That was very tedious. He came in the pit lane really slow, which allowed me to get to his back bumper. And all I needed was a good solid entry and a good solid leaf. And I guess the margin was probably about a wing. Oh, my goodness. I looked at the replay. It was...
Yeah, it was so close we weren't even sure.
So now after we finish up with you, I'll go back and we'll pull it up on the replay so that everybody can see it as well. But I say we were joking tonight about the race. I say Steve was wondering if getting the pole time, maybe that'd be the omen for you to be able to pull off your first win. I told Steve I felt like you had a solid top 20 in you tonight, and then with that at the caution, I told him, yeah, a solid top 18, definitely had it in the bag. So you're able to get that top 18 tonight. So first off, congrats on that.
Yeah, hang on. A little swig of beer. I actually feel damn good. Just get that monkey off my back. But those what drove me was those 4 second place finishes, and I was worried about track position. I knew Corey was it Corey that was leading?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he hadn't pitted in a while, so I expected him to peel off here, and it was probably going to be a race between me, Craig, and same old Eric, like every week. Top 3 guys going at it again. And I was worried about entry coming in. I was thinking about coming in the next lap, and the caution comes out. Oh, my goodness. That's just crazy. But,
Eric said he could make it one more lap, he thought, and that would have been it.
wow. Because
And he said he almost pitted on that lap where the caution came out.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. I had no idea. Oh, did you guys happen to see the misfortune in pit road behind me? Craig pitted.
Yes, yeah, we did catch that. Yeah, we saw that. And that we talked about it too. I mean, that could actually come into play for the championship results as well. It was only a 10-point gap between the two of Eric Schaus and Craig Forsyth entering tonight's race. So that could come into play as well here to see who winds up with the title. Say after 2 more races, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to go. So it's going to come down to the wire, and we'll see us after tonight's win. We'll see how many. How close you are in points as well.
I haven't looked. I know I crashed last week, and that wasn't very fun at all. I watched everybody sketchy on that. But over and all, that was a great race. The bottom was the key. Whoever held the bottom was probably going to win the race. So that's the only reason I'm sitting here talking to you.
Well, we definitely noticed all race long how hard it was for anybody to be able to pass the leader as long as he protected the bottom line.
Yeah, Corey I guess he got on the apron and he tagged the apron just by just a little tad, and oh, that was a good save.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think he was one of the only to save it after touching the apron. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but as the run went on, did it start to free up at all when you were low on fuel and the tires were starting to wear out? Or so I think that it looked like Corey got loose off of 4, and that's what kind of sent him down to the apron off the exit.
No, as the tires got hotter, the car started to push even more. So
okay, so maybe a bit of push loose or something.
Yes, the bottom was See, the banking on the bottom is different than the top groove. So if you would put your weight tracker just a little bit higher, it wouldn't make a difference. But if you would run higher, you get that nice runoff. Plus, you wouldn't get as much aero push from the top lane.
Yeah, we did notice, say, towards the end, say you and Eric were really starting to move to that third lane, and then, like I said, arc it down there, get yourself some clean air, get a good exit as well, get the momentum off. So, I say, like I said, it was tough to pass the leaders here. So that's just kind of the nature of the beast in these cars. That front car kind of breaks the air in front of everybody, but then if you jump to the outside, you're going to be doing the exact same thing. So, but I say you're able to put that pole to good work there, get the lead out of the pits there. And so you're able to bring it home with the win tonight. So, so like I said, no, it's been a long time coming. Say a lot of frustration with just the wrong strategy at the wrong time for you. But gets it done tonight here. So definitely want to give you the floor though, Matt. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for pulling off that win?
Yes, I do. I'd like to thank Speedy Snails Racing for helping me. Just pulling me through. Work together as a team. And I'd like to thank my Daytona 2014, which is coming up this weekend. And we're going to do it. We're going to try and get a win here. And I'd like to thank my dad. He's up in Florida. He's feeling better. Just got off the phone with him no more than about 3 hours ago. Everything's great. Life's good. I'd like to thank Area 51, Bud Kicker, you guys as announcers. I thank you very much. Y'all have a great night.
You too, Matt, and congrats again on that win. I'm so glad to finally see you get that monkey off your back.
Yeah, did you see that monkey fly out the cockpit of my car when I did them donuts?
Yeah, I did. I think it went up in the stands.
Yeah, thank God. But over and all, thank you guys. I really do appreciate it.
Congrats again, Matt. Well-earned win tonight, getting the win here at Las Vegas. And I have a feeling we'll definitely have more of you to do some interviews as the rest of the season winds down here. So congrats, and we'll look forward to catching you again here soon, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next time.
All right, Steve. So I'll say I'm going to let you get your final thoughts for the race, and while you do that, I'm going to hunt down that pit stop that we had talked about because I do want to mention that let everybody see how close that was on the pit exit between the two of them. Because I say again, I think that's definitely what played the role in how this race ended here.
I guess I'll just say that it kind of played out about the way I thought it would from what I experienced in practice. It was really even harder to pass than I thought it would be. So it ended up being a race where pit strategy, and just race strategy in general made a huge difference. And these guys that finished on the lead lap, or the top 6 that were on the lead lap at the end there before the people got their wave around, I mean, those guys called it just right. So very, very impressed with their pit calls. A little gambling here in Las Vegas, and a good job by those guys. And I'm really glad to see Matt get his first win. Eric, awesome run to come in second. Dwight Plesh, great run in third. And Craig Forsyth, gotta find out what happened to you, buddy. Hopefully that 1 point won't make a difference. But that's a great 4th place, and Gary Corley in 5th, and Jim Brooks, who was the last car in the lead lap before the wave rounds. Thankfully, things worked out with him to get a decent finish.
Yeah, so you're exactly right, though, Steve. So obviously, I'm sure the 76 not going to be happy with that 6th place, but still, I mean, overall, a really good run in contention. And yeah, so you see pull it up here. Say, I believe this is the pit exit mark. I say I'm not 100% sure if that's actually the exit cone or not. So I'm basing off of what the replays got me here, but you can see that difference right there between that number 99 and the 72. That's the difference that number 1 pit stall may have made for Matt Wagner to get that win over Eric Schaus tonight. So again, that's where the qualifying comes into play here. Is just if you can get that spot, that one extra spot. I mean, that's gonna make just help your cause that much more on these races here.
I gotta go back and look at that. I think it was that white line, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's where the green cones and the white line is. And so yeah, Matt's got about about a nose on, a little over a nose over that 72, and saying that pit speed, I mean that's going to be just yeah, so close between two of them wanting to maybe speed to get that little bit extra between them. So again though, yeah, so yeah, with that, so again, want to congratulate our top three, top four really, with Eric Schaus, Matt Wagner, Craig Forsyth, Dwight Plesh. Say an awesome race tonight. So it was obviously difficult to pass the leaders, but these guys did everything they could to make it happen. But when it was all said and done, though, after the race was over, that number 99 Matt Wagner getting the win here this evening at Las Vegas. So definitely want to congratulate him again, getting that first win here with the Area 51 Racing League. Saying with that, as always, we'll be back again on Thursday for the Cup Series. But until then, as always, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and until Thursday, have a good night.
And everybody.